We'll move on to the main focus of tonight's meeting, which is to see the House debate the motion, This House Believes Feminism has lost its way. To propose the motion this evening, we have Dr Joanna Williams, an academic, the education editor of Spite and author of the book Women versus Feminism, and alongside her Madeline Grant, a digital officer at the Institute of Economic Affairs. And to oppose the motion this evening, we have Hannah Brown, the Vice President of Durham Intersectional Feminist Society and the President of Josephine Butler College FemSoc, and also alongside her Vicky Price, an economist and author of the book Why Women Need Quotas. So, to propose the motion this evening, I call on Dr Joanna Williams to open the case for the proposition.
Ladies and gentlemen, feminism has lost its way. Feminism has lost its way so completely, it's not about liberating women, it's about holding them back. It's not about freedom, it's about restrictions. It's not about equality, it's about special treatment. Feminism today is a solution in search of a problem. Back in the 1960s, when feminism first took off as a movement, there were problems. There was sexual inequality. Women were forced to give up work when they either got married or when they became pregnant. Women were paid less than men, and that was quite legal for this to happen. Women were disadvantaged quite systematically and routinely. Women were oppressed. But, and I think this is a really important point, thanks to the efforts of a previous generation of feminists who are insulted and demeaned in discussions around Me Too nowadays, thanks to the efforts of this previous generation of feminists, sexual equality has all but been achieved. So, let me give you some examples to prove this point. Young women today, girls at school, do better than boys. They do better across every subject. They do better at every age category. As a result, more young women go on to university than men nowadays. Now, this isn't just a little difference. So this year, so going back to this academic year, 2017, 55% of young women aged 18 to 24 go on to university, compared to only 43% of young men. Now, I would put it to you that if those statistics were reversed, if we had 43% of young women going on to university and compared to 55% of young men, this would be a national scandal. We would be having newspaper articles, we would be having government inquiries into why there was such a gender imbalance in the numbers of people going to universities. But because it's 55% of young women and 43% of young men, we are not having this national discussion around this gender disparity. As a result of more women going to university, and incidentally I must say, this is not a recent development. Women started going to university in greater numbers than men in 1992. This is over a quarter of a century ago. So for a quarter of a century now, in every single year, more women than men have gone to university. And this is an absolutely crucial point, because what it means is that more women than men are now entering the professions. There are more women doctors than men, more women lawyers than men, more women in accountancy than men, more women in veterinary science than men. If you look at the statistics about students on veterinary science courses, it's nearly 80% women. There are more women working as vets than men. As a result of this, the gender pay gap is virtually non-existent. So what you hear about is to do with average pay gaps. That's taking all the money paid to all women compared to all the money paid to all men. Well, surprisingly enough, when many women have babies, they choose to cut the hours that they work. They choose to reduce down to part-time. Now, we can have a discussion about why this might be the case, but if you work part-time, you get paid half the wages, approximately. You get paid less if you work fewer hours. This is a fact of life. So the gender pay gap has all but disappeared. Women today cannot be said to be oppressed in any meaningful sense of the word. So if feminism is not concerned with material equality anymore, What is feminism concerned with today? Well, I'll tell you 5 things I think feminism is concerned with today. I think it's about pitching men against women, not in a way that's about material inequality. It's about a focus on men's behaviour. So you'll hear words like manspreading and mansplaining, as if these are kind of swoon faint, the most terrible things that can ever happen to a woman. Feminism today, number 2, takes the problems, I think, the genuine problems experienced by working class women, often the same problems as those experienced by working class men, insecure jobs, cramped living conditions, expensive housing, expensive childcare, but it exploits these problems faced by working class women to enhance the status of the already privileged. So, I'll give you an example. We have heard far more about Carrie Gracie, whose salary looks like a telephone number. Carrie Gracie, who I, as a complete news addict, have news on 24 hours a day, had never heard of until she resigned as BBC editor, China editor, and suddenly popped up as a regular presenter on the Today programme. This feminism, point number 3, bizarrely, tells women that some job choices they make are not suitable for them. To me, it's an incredibly strange feminism that seeks to put women out of jobs. Yet if you work as a Formula 1 woman, if you work at a darts match, if you work at a hostess, feminism will come along and tell you that's not a suitable job choice. You can't do that job. So you'll see on the very same day, the Guardian newspaper, big picture of Carrie Gracie at the top. Let's feel sorry for Carrie Gracie with her telephone number salary, and yet at the same time, let's celebrate working class women being put out of jobs. To me, this is bizarre, and if this is a victory for feminism, that some women lose their jobs, this is a very hollow victory indeed. Number 4, feminism today tells women that they can't cope with song lyrics. We need to ban blurred lines. We can't cope with adverts. See a woman in a bikini on the tube advertising Protein World, and women can't cope, so we need to ban adverts. We can't cope with posters. It tells women they're pathetic. It tells women they need censorship in order to make their own way through the world. Point 5, and we see this in the Me Too movement, feminism tells women today that if a man touches her knee, if a man attempts a kiss, if a man engages in a clumsy come-on, the woman must swoon and faint and run away and take to social media and write Me Too, or kind of get a front page Times column, that the woman can't possibly say to the man, will you please take your hand off my knee? Can't slap the man across the face, can't make her intentions known to the man in the moment. In short, feminism today tells women that they are victims, and this is incredibly unhelpful. It tells women that we are objectified, we are assaulted, we are abused at home, in the street, in the workplace, that we are life's downtrodden, disadvantaged victims. As such, feminism today is not empowering, which is what feminism should be, it's debilitating. It tells women we're not adults, but we're children. It offers us not freedom, but special protections. Well, I'm really sorry if this shocks anyone here, but I'm a woman, and well, you know, that wasn't actually the shocking thing, although we have had a conversation this evening that I might be shocking. You know, I'm a woman, and I can actually tell a lie. You know, and I flatter myself that I'm actually just as capable of telling lies as any man I know. Not only am I just as capable of telling lies as men, so all this stuff about, you know, we must just believe women because women are so incapable of ever lying is bullshit. You know, not only am I capable of lying, but actually I want to enjoy all the same freedoms as men, and I don't want feminists telling me what job I can do. I don't want feminists telling me what I should look like. I don't want feminists offering me special protections. To me, the days of chaperones, of curfews, you know, that was what feminists fought against. I don't want chaperones, I don't want curfews, and I don't want chaperones and curfews to be self-inflicted, because because I feel so terrified I don't leave the house at night. The world has never been safer for women. The world has never been a better place for women. The message I want to give to my daughter is go out there, the world's yours for the taking. I don't want her to hear that she's a victim, that life's so terrible for her. Feminism has lost its way. It's lost its way so much, it's holding women back. Today, women need liberating from feminism.